Well, everyone, and welcome back. It's been a really rough couple of weeks getting everything all set up, but at long last, the official roster for the YTRSS Regal Cup Series Season 2 is finally here. What used to be the Subway Cup Series has now been rebranded to the Regal Cup Series. A little bit more of a unique name and sort of a little bit more sponsor flexibility that's realistic. So, if you guys have not seen my post on my community board, the YTRSS, the B-Side 400, has been pushed up from 4th of July weekend to Memorial Day weekend, and May 23rd, 2020 will be the Beachside 400. So anyways, before we get started with all of the drivers that's going to be in, it's time to announce some points system changes. So this will be the first season we'll be using Score 4 as the points reader. I used spreadsheets for Season 1. It was an absolute mess. But this season, it will be Score 4, so it'll be a little bit more traditional. But because of that, there's going to be a brand new playoff system that will be exclusive to the YTRSS Regal Cup Series. So let's go ahead and explain the changes to the point system. In Season 1, basically, the top 30 in points would basically be locked into every single race as long as they sustain inside the top 30. This season's going to be different, as now the top 35 in points will be locked into every race out of the 40 eligible drivers that will be able to race in every race, except for the Beachside 400, which there will be 42 drivers like before. So now it's going to be a little bit more intense, because knockout qualifying will now only allow 5 drivers that are outside the top 35 in points to be in the final event. So a little bit more intensity of that. And also, this is another big important thing, that once the playoff begins, there will be no more knockout qualifying. So basically, that means the top 40 in points will now be locked into every race, and everyone below 40th in the points will be done for the season. That'll basically be a little bit more simple, make everything a little bit more simpler. But knockout qualifying will now take place on a different day as well. The races will hopefully be up on Saturdays, and knockout qualifying will take place on Thursdays. A little bit of a different thing here. But here's another big important thing. To help some of the drivers that did great last season make their way back into every race, this season will introduce the playoff provisionals. What those basically mean is that the drivers that made it into the playoffs in Season 1 are guaranteed in every race except the Beachside 400. So there are 5 drivers that will be receiving this playoff provisional. And those drivers are points champion from Season 1, Peyton Beasley, Cody Smart, Spencer Purcell, Philip Watson, and Jimmy Johnston will all be in every single event following Daytona, regardless on where they are in points. And then basically it repeats every single season. The 10 drivers that will be in the playoffs this season will get the playoff provisional next season, and so on. So if the 5 drivers I mentioned before do good this season, they're going to be guaranteed a spot in every race in Season 3, except for the Beachside 400, of course. And how this season's playoff is going to work different than others, because now the Final 4 will be determined on round winners. So, the Final 4 will now consist of the regular season champions, whoever has the most points at Talladega, which is again going to be the final regular season race, will be locked in to the season finale, which will be announced at a later date. Then, instead of eliminating a driver every single race, there's going to be 3 race segments. So, Round 1 is going to have 3 races, Round 2 is going to have 3 races, and then Round 3 is going to be the last 3 races before the season finale. Whoever gets the most points in those segments will be locked into the Final Four. So then, the Final Four will consist of the regular season finale, like the regular season champion, the most points from round 1 winner, round 2 winner, and round 3 winner. This will sort of increase the intensity and make sure the playoff drivers will continue to race their best throughout the playoffs. And then when we get to the final race, the 4 drivers will compete head-to-head, and we will determine the champion based on whoever finishes the farthest ahead in the final race. So that being said, that's all the changes we got. The schedule will be announced at a later date, but we have some big changes. I have teased that Texas has now been moved up to the 3rd race, and as well as some other changes, but the schedule will be announced on a later date. Now that we got through all the boring stuff, let's go ahead and take a look at your official lineup for Season 2 of the YTRSS Regal Cup Series. If I pronounce your name wrong, please tell me in the comments section. Please tell me, so then I can pronounce your name properly in every race product. Because if you don't say anything, that's what I'm assuming your name is. So let's go ahead and get started. Mika Dergo, Dylan Young, Steven Merzlak, Gustavo Roland Jr., David Dawn, Noah Sweet, Jacob Hammond, Connor Grindstaff, Jaden Haffletree, Shazian Rana, Lorado Steelman, Kendrick Lawson, Jacob Buchholz, Drew Lau, JJ Garfield, Peyton Beasley, Connor Breton, Dylan Jones, Jimmy Johnston, Chris Friston, Spencer Purcell, Brandon Creason, Jeff Toledo, Luke Ryan, Griffin Allen, Trey Wright, Kennedy Keller, Griffin Lynn, Anthony Fox, Philip Watson, Zach Cornyn, Christian Vargas, Noah Kars, Caleb Campbell, Zach Williams, Michael Volk, Michael Zartman Jr., Nathaniel Serrano. I'm pretty sure it might be Nathaniel. You may have forgotten the end, but if it's not, tell me. Noah Kim, Brandon Barani, Mark Watkins, Maxwell Fay, Owen Miles, Stephen Willey, Fisher Johnson, Danielle Jones, David Garcia, Josh Hayden, LJ Toledo, Steve Sterling Jr., Jose Mills, Nicholas Dolan, Juan Camacho, Ferris Khalil, Scott Sprinkle, Samit Ozkin, Adam Garcia, Rayan Durrani, Blake Jefferson, Justin Hawk, Reagan Whitlock, Brandon Foster, Gerard Oran, Cody Smart, Ryan Labongo, Calvin Michaels, Nicholas Breeden, and Camden Wilson. Those are the 68 drivers that will be competing in YTRSS Regal Cup Series 2nd season. So anyways, that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you for your patience. And see you all in May for the big race, the big return with YTRSS Speed Weeks. See you then.